Madam Chair, our distinguished guests of honor, the Minister for Local Government, and my friend for more than 35 years. I said my friend. Representative of the Canadian High Commission, our special guest, one of whom is Professor Kwame Nissen, another very good friend of mine for many years, the chair and the members of the board, representatives of Saint Sierra Leone and Saint Liberia, representative of traditional authorities, representative of national and international civil society partners, representative of the Ghana Participatory Monitoring and Evaluation Network, our resident minister who is hosting us. We're very happy that you could grace this occasion with your presence. Members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, 20 years ago, 40% of Ghana's population were living below the poverty line. Northern Ghana, where First Saint intervened, was recovering from an internal ethnic conflict which destroyed communities and consumed hundreds of lives in the Eastern Corridor. Civil war was ravaging in Liberia, my home country, and its neighbor, Sierra Leone. Significantly, Ghanaians were sacrificing their lives on peacekeeping missions in Liberia and in Sierra Leone. Thousands of refugees from both countries were being hosted by Ghana. So that's how important Ghana was there, and I can say even now. The Social Enterprise Development Foundation of West Africa was our response to contribute toward the mitigation of the human suffering caused by poverty and strife in our sub-region. I'm humble, Madam Chair, and thankful to God that the Saint West Africa, myself, Graziana, Captain, I hope I'm not embarrassing you. Can you please stand up? Established is celebrating 20 years of empowering good governance and transforming life. And we can truly be proud of ourselves, Catherine, that it has become a Ghana development success story. So you can clap for yourself. The Anniversary Committee chose Dr. Esther Ofe-Abodje, a social policy analyst and an independent observer of Saint West Africa, to report to the guests assembled and our friends around the world about the development impact of the work that Saint has done for the past 20 years. So I'm relieved. I'm immensely grateful to her for accepting to review our work and to share her findings, her insights, and above all, her critical reflections with our guests of honor, our special guests, the principals. You know, in saying we don't use the word beneficiary. We call them principals. We exist because of them. So if you keep hearing or using the word principal, I think it's good for you to bear in mind. We don't call them beneficiaries. We are rather beneficiaries because they pay us. The board members, donors, implementing partners, past and present staff, as well as friends of Saint around the world. In the coming years, affiliates of Saint West Africa will prioritize strengthening citizen government engagement towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals. We believe in the SDG, the emphasis on ending poverty, improving nutrition, water, and sanitation security, universal health care, education for all, enhancing economic and social justice, gender justice, and promoting environmental sustainable. They are attainable. These goals can be attained and we in sense believe in them. Accordingly, our programs will endeavor to contribute to creating a policy environment that enables the poor and the vulnerable groups to realize the SDG in their lives and their communities. We believe that for countries in the sub-region to achieve the SDG, prioritizing the fight against corruption and preventing the misuse of public resources is an important precondition. Corruption, especially in the implementation of pro-poor programs in health, education, and agriculture, whether in Liberia, Sierra Leone, and in Ghana, is rampant. Every president, and for this speech, I read all the 2 speeches of Ellen Sirleaf Johnson, Agnes Bar Koroma, Kufo, Nana. I read all those speeches. If they don't talk about zero tolerance for corruption when the election commission is giving them, informing them that they have won, it will be in their inaugural speech. So you can go and check it out. Every president in the sub-region in their inaugural speech have declared zero tolerance for corruption and made bold promises to take serious actions against anyone who prey on the public purse. Sadly, whenever each president's tenure ends, quote, we the people are forced to declare corruption to remain public enemy number 1. The affiliate of SEND West Africa will scale up intervention to strengthen citizen capabilities to document, prevent, highlight, and expose corrupt practices, especially in pro-poor programs in Sierra Leone and Liberia. Since Sierra Leone, for example, will soon be launching a strategic plan for 2019 to 2014, theme empowering citizens to make Sierra Leone work for equity, while saying Ghana will scale up its strategic plan of making Ghana work for equity to run for the next 5 years. In Ghana, for example, budget advocacy program which currently prioritizes education, health, and agriculture will be expanded to include anti-corruption agencies such as the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice, the Auditor General Department, and the Office of the Chief Special Prosecutor. There are hopes the Ghanaians have in the Office of the Special Prosecutor to curb corruption among elected and appointed officials will be frustrated if its independence is compromised, either due to lack of funding or political interference, or both. SEND program targeting anti-corruption agencies will seek to increase citizen utilization of their services, budgetary allocation, and accountability for their mandate. To strengthen the fight against corruption, the need for Ghana's parliament to pass the bill to the right to information law cannot be overemphasized. We call on the leadership of parliament to take actions on the right to information bill in 2 key ways. First, to ensure that the inputs and concerns of the Right to Information Action Campaign and its allies are incorporated in the Right to Information Bill. Second, to ensure that Parliament passes the Right to Information Bill into law before the end of 2018. Donor support for development programs, for example, in health, in sectors such as health, education, agriculture, is becoming increasingly unpredictable and limited. The availability of adequate and reliable domestic financial and related resources is a precondition for the successful execution of the Sustainable Development Goal. The need for government to step up domestic resource mobilization to invest in the implementation of the SDG is urgent. Therefore, we applaud the government of Ghana for introducing a progressive personal income tax regime. SEND partnership with the Ministry of Finance will be expanded to include the Ghana Revenue Authority. The purpose of the collaboration with the GRA will be to scale up the existing tax education program, foster transparency and accountability for domestic revenue and other internally generated income by the metropolitan, municipality, and district assembly. SEND and its partners will be campaigning for the expansion of tax incentives and relief schemes for young Ghanaians, women and men, entrepreneurs in startups in the information, communication, and technology sector. Increasing tax incentives in the ICT sector will enable these young entrepreneurs who dominate the sector to experiment, learn, and adapt ICT applications to the Ghanaian economic context. This is what has made a difference in Asia. This is what is making a difference in Kenya. Invest in the youth, give them tax incentives. Empowering our young and gifted entrepreneurs through tax incentives, which we now lavish on foreign investors, is the surest way of creating sustainable employment, expanding the tax base, and nurturing Ghana beyond aid. We'd like to express our gratitude to 4 partners who have supported us for the past 20 years. This is very rare to have donors who have stuck with us, and I'd like to acknowledge them in a special way. The first goes to the Canadian, now it's called Canadian Global Affairs. So we are very honored, and we want to thank you for 20 years. I actually got the first funding from Canada to do the first project. Then we have the Canadian Cooperative Development Association, now called Cooperative Development Foundation of Canada. Christian Aid is here. We have Oxfam. Each of these organizations supported us to start our very first project. We acknowledge with immense appreciation our partnership with the USAID for 2 reasons, 2 very important reasons. It has enabled us to consolidate and to expand our program to include strengthening anti-corruption institutions at grassroots, district, and national level. As I said, for us now in Sen, working with the government to do all what we can to stamp out corruption or to minimize it is going to be our goal. So that we can have a president, when he leaves office, people will not say, hey, 2, our partnership with USAID has made it possible for us to build the capacity of some of the most disadvantaged people in the health sector. We have a project which I lead in Sen called People for Health. I've worked in Ghana for the last 30 years, and it has taken me to work with categories of people that I've never worked with, and that we are very grateful to USAID for that possibility to work with very disadvantaged groups. We also want to thank the International Budget Partnership, our budget advocacy, which is really what we're going to be doing seriously. The International Budget Partnership has helped to build our staff capacity to be able to do that work and to do it professionally. The World Bank, our partnership with the World Bank led us to strengthen our social accountability. We are using ICT, and the World Bank funding helped us to do that. Start Ghana. With Start Ghana funding, we started work on taxation. Very important work that we're doing. If we want our country to provide the level of social incentives in this country, we cannot rely on donor funding. We have to pay our taxes, and Sen believes in that. When we pay our taxes, we have to hold the government accountable. We thank Trust Africa and the many other national, international, non-governmental organizations and bilateral and multilateral development agencies that continue to provide financial and technical assistance to the affiliates of Sen West Africa. Here I want to acknowledge especially WHH of Germany. They are supporting Sen Sierra Leone immensely, not just with program support, but organizational support to build their capacity. So they may not be here, but I'm sure that they are watching your live. So I really want to acknowledge WHH of Germany. We are greatly indebted to the many national and local government agencies with whom we are collaborating. We are thankful to our many colleagues in national, international civil society network, coalition, alliances with whom we are sharing a common commitment to make poverty history in our world. Finally, and this is very important to my heart, we acknowledge the focal NGOs. They are our foot soldiers. And the more than 740 organizations. I think besides the TUC and a few other organizations like that, Sen is probably one of the few organizations that has the level of spread. We work in more than 68 districts, and we work with more than 748 organizations. and they are our foot soldiers. They are the one who has made us to become a development success story. I want to acknowledge them. It is due to their dedication to the mission of SEN to promote good governance and the equality of men and women that we are celebrating SEN West Africa as a development success story. We hope that all of us will use this anniversary of celebration to rededicate ourselves to making Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone equitable, fair, and a just society. Thank you very much.